with that said, let's jump into some of what's involved in an assessment, or what many call an energy audit. And what I want to share is kind of the hierarchy here and how we prioritize energy measures. And so as we talk about some of the practicals here in the second half of our program today, we're really going to focus on these lower levels of this diagram. So the first of that would be energy analysis, or something like an energy audit. It could be a professional doing it. It could be you could walk around your house yourself. You could assess where energy is being used, whatever it may be. That's a helpful first place to start, and that's what we'll touch on first. And then we'll look at the actual kind of practices we can put in place. And we want to start with those lower levels. So we'd first look at conservation, and that's really a behavioral change, like turning the light switch off. So when you turn the light switch off, it saves energy, but it didn't cost you anything to do it. All it was a flip of a light switch. And so that's going to be your best practice to take. Your best return on investment is those behavioral conservation changes. Then we'll look at efficient measures, where we invest in technology to some extent. An LED light bulb is an energy efficient light bulb. They do cost a little bit more, but they're much more efficient. We won't talk too much about time of use management, but if you're being billed more in the afternoon, maybe you want to shift some of your energy use to the morning or in the evening when you're not being charged as much per kilowatt hour. And so time of use management will be something we'll kind of touch on, but we really don't want to address renewable technology like solar or geothermal until we've looked at these lower levels. Renewable technologies have a big price tag associated with them. So we're going to focus on these lower levels first. I'll just go through a brief example I put together here. But if you're looking at air conditioning for your home, conservation would be just changing the temperature. It's a cold day today, and so your tendency might be to try to warm up your house a little bit more than usual. I'm from Florida, and so that's kind of my tendency is to try to bump it up a little higher. But if you just do a simple conservation, change the thermostat a bit, it doesn't cost you anything to do that. You'll just put a coat on and try to keep warm. But the more you do that, the more savings there are. And so you see, I've included annual savings here by and this is just one example. These numbers are not set in stone, but you save quite a bit with just an energy conservation. If you are investing in a new air conditioner unit like is shown in the picture here, that could cost more than $1,000, and it'll save a little bit each year. So I don't advise, and I'll say this over and over again throughout this webinar, you don't want to invest in a new technology just because you want one. Typically, you want to wait until your older unit needs replacement. And so I don't advise just replacing good functioning equipment with new energy efficient equipment. It's typically best to wait for it to be ready for replacement. Time of use management also costs nothing to do. It's just more of a behavioral change there. But the thing I want to point to is if you were looking at replacing your conventional air conditioner with a geothermal, renewable energy geothermal system, that's very expensive. It could cost upwards of $10,000 or more, up to maybe $20,000 or more, depending on the type of system you install. So renewable systems, they do have annual savings, but the investment costs can be rather high. Now, we do have resources on our website and YouTube channel addressing some of these technologies, so you can explore those and you can ask questions as well. But we're primarily going to look at these lower level features. And so when you're considering an energy audit, you're primarily going to be looking at ways to save through conservation and efficiency. Some audits will include renewable energy assessments on there. They'll look at technologies and certain practices that'll help you save energy. If you're having a more robust evaluation done, they'll do like the typical blower door test, and they'll see where air is leaking in your house. They'll use infrared cameras, and they can see where you might have hot or cold regions with insulation issues and things of that nature. But really, the audits are highly variable. There's some less formal audits that you can have done, and there's more formal audits as well. And so the best place to start looking is with your utility provider. So I've included websites there. Again, this will be a part of the recording, and I'll provide these resources as well, so you can go ahead and review that. But connect with your utility provider, and they should be able to point you to an auditor. We'll talk about some options there later. But again, each provider will offer different services, and each contractor offers a little bit different. So you do your research before you have a contractor come out to do it. It could cost, it could be free, it could be $100 or more, depending on what type of audit you have done. So do your research on that and see what exactly you're looking at getting, and the information will help you decide what kind of ways you can save with energy. Do it yourself audit. There's a lot of ways you could do that. You could go item by item in your house and looking at the power, which is watts. I've included like maybe a microwave here or a coffee maker, I can't remember. You can look at the power rating, and then you can guess how long you're using it. That's going to tell you your energy for each item. So there are some resources there. I've included some reference here to Wyoming Extension's spreadsheet here. They have a nice little calculator tool that you can put your energy use in. It's often used when you're sizing renewable energy systems. There's also some comprehensive do-it-yourself assessments. The U.S. Department of Energy has their website there. The link on the bottom right-hand side. You can go in and use their calculator. So whichever way you end up doing it, you should get a report, especially if it's a more formal energy audit. You should get a pretty substantive report that has ways that you can save energy, and also open up opportunities for additional incentives and rebates that might be available. Okay, now I want to point just towards a couple before we get into some specific examples of energy savings. Here's some programs, rebates, discounts, and incentives. And these are offered through the Empower Maryland state mandated program. So the General Assembly in Maryland, I think going back to 2008 or so, passed this legislation, the Empower Maryland Energy Efficiency Act. And these are state level mandates to help meet the goal of reducing per capita electricity use and peak demand. So a number of different rebates and incentives are available through this program. Most utilities in Maryland have this, and so I'm not going to go through each utility, but the example I shared here is for BG&E, and you'll see incentives and rebates for dehumidifiers, LED light bulbs, any of these energy efficient technologies. You can get discounts or rebates through that. So go to BG&E, and they have information on how to take advantage of those programs if you're on with BG&E, if that's your utility provider. If you have a different utility provider, go to that utility provider, whichever is yours, and you can get information on that. There's other incentives as well. Most of those are going back to that time of use management. So if a couple days a year they have high energy use, usually during the summer, in the afternoon hours typically. So there's some energy saving programs, peak rewards and energy saving days. And there's different ways that you can either cut your energy use back manually during those hours, and they usually give you a little bit of a notice before that happens. Or if you have a smart thermostat in your house that they can connect with, they can do that for you. They can save energy without you even knowing about it. It'll usually say some kind of, you're in energy saving mode now. But those are some programs to look into if you're interested in that. Recycling programs as well. If you have old, outdated refrigerators or air conditioners, there's some rebates, and they'll pick the equipment up and haul it away as well. And so you have that reward available with the recycling programs. So I encourage you to look at some of those. Chop Tank is not a part of does not facilitate those Empower Maryland programs, so their incentives are going to be a little bit different. This information might be current, but always want to check. Don't take my word for it on these being current. So they have electric water heaters, and the requirements and eligibility are on there. It has to be a certain energy efficiency and other factors like that. But there's some programs there. So again, most of these with the Empower Maryland, and that's indicated with that Empower Maryland logo in the bottom right. Most of those programs are going to be the same because, again, those are state level mandates. Now, the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development also facilitates some of those Empower Maryland programs. They offer a variety of options here. They have the Be Smart loan and the Net Zero loan. The Net Zero loan would be for those interested in producing as much energy, whether it be like a solar panel or something like that, producing enough energy the same as what they use. And so they kind of cancel out. You're making as much energy as you're using. So that would be net zero. And there's some other options here. There's the low income energy efficiency. There's the Maryland Energy Assistance Program and the Weatherization Program. Most of these are for low to moderate income households, and they focus on energy efficiency, appliances and lighting. The MEAP program is more focused on heating, cooling, and water heating, hot water heaters. And then the weatherization program is more on the insulation side of things. And so you can go to the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, and you can find out about those loans and programs, but those are available as well. Okay, there's some additional grants and loans and tax credits that you might need to be aware of. You can find those at the Maryland Energy Administration website. And some of these are focused more on the renewable energy side, but that's just something to be aware of. But there are some other tax credits and other things you might be interested in.